Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Game 3 of a best of 5 between TSL HyuN and Acer Nerchio. HyuN being the blue Zerg at the bottom left of Cloud Kingdom, Nerchio the red Zerg at the top right. Our series is deadlocked 1-1, and we've had two very different games thus far. Game number 1 was cheesy. On HyuN's part, he went for a very fast pool and expanded as well. So as Nerchio scouted, he figured, okay, my opponent is macroing. But he saw an influx of lings too little too late, only had a couple of queens out, and very few lings of his own. Was just overwhelmed by sheer force. In game number 2, Nerchio showed a phenomenal macro ability. In what was something of a 20-some-odd minute game, he was just able to gain critical advantages over his opponent. He went mutas and just consistently kept HyuN off balance. Would never let him establish a strong number of bases and get a huge army count, or even have time to put aggression on his opponent because he was so busy defending his own base. This best of 5 is from the Go4 SC2 series of tournaments. I believe this was the August monthly finals. Like I've said before, it's hard to kind of navigate the history of these tournaments. They're not exactly freshly updated on Wikipedia, so it's Liquipedia, so it is difficult to know exactly which. This could have been a weekly tournament. All I know it is a best of 5 epic ZvZ final series. That's all the information I have. Usually I like to go for really in-depth, which round, which tournament, which week, which day, which exact hour, time zone. Not, you know what I mean. But unfortunately this time I could not get that. I can give you guys some links if you're interested in trying to find out exactly which event this is from. HyuN and Nerchio both mirroring each other with similar hatchery timings, and now very similar pool timings, with HyuN very slightly behind. In the last game, I think it was their hatcheries that were perfectly in sync. Might have even been their third bases rather than their natural that were just, I was going like this, and the time was, I couldn't even notice a difference. Nerchio now bringing over his Overlord Scout as HyuN does the exact same. You'll see that in ZvZ. When I casted another ZvZ match a while ago, my first Zerg mirror matchup on the professional segment of my channel, the Overlord spread was just crazy identical between HyuN and Slivko, which HyuN was able to take 3-1 in another weekly tournament finals. You'll often see that at a very high level when two players tend to follow the metagame. If this was a game involving Startail Life, if you guys have not seen him, you better look for some of his games. He plays a very unorthodox Zerg style. He came second in the TSL 4-2 against Creator Prime, Protoss player, definitely my favorite, but I'm focusing more on Life here. He is one player who does not follow the metagame. Loves to catch his opponents off guard in nearly every matchup. But these two belligerents seem to enjoy very similar setups of their overlords and tech. Yet they differ when it reaches a certain point. We did see Nerchio go for mutas in the last game, and HyuN opted for the more common infestors. I think Nerchio did get some of his own slightly later, but like I said earlier, HyuN wasn't able to push out with his quicker timed infestors. So by the time they actually engaged, both players had Roach, Ling, Hydra, Infestor. Both players had equal infestor counts with rather even energy, so it didn't really matter much that HyuN got any of his timings faster, because he wasn't able to abuse them as a result of the constant aggression he faced. From HyuN, both players opting for their Banewing Nests and Metabolic Boost, HyuN actually leading in this timing. We did see some denied Banewing detonations that Nerchio attempted against HyuN in the last game. They were destroyed in part by a Spinecrawler, and I think by a Queen. They might have even just detonated on a Queen. I don't remember exactly. It's kind of funny. I go with a one cast a day kind of schedule. Every day I cast a game. And I seem to forget the exact details of the past game. Here are two Queens vigorously attacking the supply depot. That's actually painfully slow. They only do 4 damage. I thought they did a lot more than that. Well, there are 2 attacks. Do they do 8 damage? I don't know how the number of attacks actually works. If you guys could inform me upon that. We have Lair Tech on the way from Nerchio, slightly ahead of his opponent. He's moving out across the map with his newly upgraded Speed Wakes. There's going to be a buried Spinecrawler here right at the Creep Tumor Fortress of HyuN outside of his natural. He's getting his Roach Warren and Wear Tag. Does Nerchio already have his Roach Warren? I don't think he has actually started it yet. He has double Evo Chamber, which to my knowledge HyuN does not. So, as I said, these are these differing timings. We don't see any huge Banewing detonations to my knowledge. No workers killed in this game thus far. Missile attacks level 1 from Nerchio, upgrading now. And he does see HyuN's third base. His mini 3-wing aggression will be fended off by a horde of HyuN's own wings. Nerchio only getting one... No, he is getting his Carapace now. I was about to denounce his opting for only one upgrade off 2 Evos, but he's gotten a second one. Nerchio's thinking ahead of me. The good old Pole is an absolute beast. Not to take anything away from HyuN, he's a fantastic player. If you guys watch IPL Fight Club, he has this insane streak going on, but he is losing his third hatchery. It may be forced to cancel. He's bringing his Queen. Now 2 Banelings. He'll need to get good detonations. He's got to spread them out. The sight of Banelings forces Nerchio back. He's bringing an Overseer over now, and HyuN will try to focus it down with his Queens. Nerchio will still be able to scout all the tech of his opponent, so that hatchery is going to finish. It will be very close. I actually think HyuN should transfuse it just to be safe and ensure that a wing run by or a couple of Banewing detonations won't completely tear him apart. I think he just did so. He just transfused. I wasn't focusing on the hatchery, but its health suddenly jumped. So he's listening to my advice and also getting missile attacks level 1 with his Growl Reconstitution. So these 2 upgrades slightly behind his opponents, but he will get his Infestation Pit before Nerchio does. Yeah, they seem to be ultimately getting the exact same tech, just at different times, and it ends up evening out by the time they end up engaging. The Overseer of HyuN survives, and I do not believe that the Overseer of Nerchio did. I'm trying to look for the Queens here, see if any of them were able to get a snipe off. Nope, the Overseer of Nerchio survived as well. He is now bringing out his Roaches, going to wait for his speed to finish, and Carapace level 1. We do have Pathogen Glands researching from HyuN, so he will get Infestors out faster than his opponent, and that could be huge. He has a nice supply lead right now, and he's able to force his opponent back on merit of his higher Roach count. Doesn't even have speed. I'm not sure whether or not Nerchio noticed that. The Infestors will shortly pop from HyuN if he decides to actually start building them, as normally Zerg players like to do so as their Pathogen Glands is close to finishing, so that their initial round of Infestors will get the bonus energy. Because if they finish before the upgrade does, they don't get added energy after they've built. Worked that only a couple of months ago. So here's a small engage. Nerchio going to lose a few Roaches. They were just move commanding across the map. Not the brightest exchange there, but he didn't lose very many Roaches, and he's going to have a good high ground engage here. But will HyuN be able to get a good surround off? He's trying to fight his way up this ramp. Not even evenly upgraded units, as Nerchio's got his 1 Carapace. We'll have to see how he's able to fend this off. He's building 9 Roaches and 5 Infestors. So HyuN has no Infestors on the field. What are you doing, HyuN? You need Infestors. Your opponent is shortly going to have 5. And his missile attack's level 2. But will HyuN be able to snipe this 3rd hatchery? That could be absolutely huge. And he gets it. Now going to be able to safely evacuate. Not even facing any deaths as a result of Brood Wings. Very well played there from HyuN, but now Nerchio looks like he wants to counterattack here. HyuN is prepared. He's got some Roaches here. One of the Banewings focused down, and it looks like Nerchio's counter-aggression going to absolutely fizzle. Very well done there. Excellent predictive play from our Korean blue Zerg player. He's getting his missile attacks level 2, alas, and his Hydra Den in addition to 8 Infestors. So he's finally getting Infestors. And although I did kind of yell at him a bit for not having any of those ever-powerful spellcasters out with his rogue attack force that destroyed the 3rd, I do think that was an excellent move from him. He did lose the Overseer just there, and he'll be briefly supply blocked, but he's got something like 7 Overlords. And my voice just cracked because I was so excited saying that, because you never see 7 Overlords. You guys are probably hysterical right now. That was semi-intentional. I wanted to be excited, but I didn't want to be that excited. That was on purpose, in case you don't realize. I think HyuN needs to start getting his ground Carapace upgrades, however, as he's only got 1 Evo chamber, and he has the kind of economy to produce off of 2, with 3 bases in all. 5 harvesters behind his opponent, but a lot more mining going on there. He's got a total of 11 workers killed. He's going to get Burrow and Grooved Spines for his Hydrovisk's range, while Nerchio gets Carapace level 2. I like HyuN's chances at this point. He was able to snipe that third. He's delayed his opponent's Hydrovisk again, which Nerchio is now getting. He's going to lose another Overseer, however. Won't set him back too much as he's getting 3 Overlords now, which does not excite me too much. Nerchio grabbing his 4th base. No sign of such a hatchery from HyuN. I think he's going to have to fill a timing window and maybe move out, snipe one of Nerchio's bases, or just try to go all out and destroy his outright army force and win the game. He has enough of a unit advantage. His army supplies a total of around 46 ahead of his opponent, which he needs to take advantage of before Nerchio can get maxed, before Nerchio can get a strong number of bases underneath him. It looks like he's thinking the same thing as, I forget the unit who says it in StarCraft Brood War. I'm thinking the same thing. Might be the dropship. Get back to me on that one. I'll have to research it and maybe include it in the description. Probably the dropship, but let's see how HyuN's able to do in this engage as he moves out across the map. He's finally getting his Carapace level 1. He's got his 2 weapons. Nerchio has 2-1. He's only going to have a 1 Carapace upgrade. That could be quite critical, although he is down 18 supply, most of which is likely army. Here's HyuN now moving in. Let's see how good an engage he's able to get. His investors are behind. These Hydras actually just focusing on Overlords. They need to get in the main battle. Not the brightest engagement point here from HyuN. He needs to find some good fungals. It looks like Nerchio is spitting out a bunch of infested Terrans. Don't see huge fungals there from HyuN. He does get a lot of roaches there. Looks like he's just going to move in with pure DPS Hydras, and Nerchio just leaves the game. He doesn't GG. He loses this engagement and leaves the game. I think HyuN was able to overcome him with just pure brute force, as I thought he didn't have the best initial engagement position. Then HyuN moved in and got some nice fungals off. Nerchio threw down a few infested Terrans, wasn't able to even the score, and our game goes to TSL HyuN. He's able to take a 2-1 lead in this series, which is a best of 5. That's kind of BM from Nerchio. He was cheesed in game 1, but HyuN came back in game 2. He was upset about that, by the way. But in game 2, HyuN GG'd when he lost. So I don't necessarily agree with this move. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this cast. I will catch you in game number 4. See you then.